Good morning and a warm welcome. Sage here for Kalkine TV, reporting to you live from Sydney, and you're watching the Global Markets Roundup. Let's dive into some of the key highlights and happenings from yesterday, and starting with the US market. And the US shares rallied on Thursday as strong bank earnings reports fired up investors' risk appetites, while the dollar and the benchmark Treasury yields both paused their recent ascent to pull back from the multi-month highs. MSCI's gauge of stocks across the globe gained 1.34%, and the benchmark US indices closed higher on Thursday, October 14th, boosted by strong quarterly results of major banks and upbeat economic data that helped alleviate the investors' concerns. The S&P 500 was up 1.71%, and the Dow Jones rose 1.56%, while the Nasdaq Composite rose 1.73%, and the small cap Russell 2000 climbed 1.44%. The US stock market has been volatile in recent weeks over concerns about inflation, rising energy costs and economic slowdown. And money managers interviewed by Wall Street Journal have downplayed Thursday's rally, stressing that markets could expect more bumpy roads ahead. On Thursday, the Labor Department said that the US jobless claims fell to 293,000 in the week ended 9th October from 329,000 in the previous week. Basic materials and technology stocks were the top gainers on the S&P 500. All of the 11 stock segments of the index rose on Thursday. Industrials, financials, healthcare and real estate stocks were among the top movers, while consumer, non-cyclicals, energy and utilities were the bottom movers. Investors were motivated by the strong quarterly results of the major banks reported Thursday. And moving on now to the futures and commodities. Gold futures were up 0.15% and silver was up 1.71%, while copper rose 2.08%. And Brent oil futures increased by 1.25% and WTI crude was up 1.28%. Looking at the bond market now, and the 30-year Treasury bond yields fell 1.05%, while the 10-year bond yields declined 2.25%. And the US dollar futures index decreased by 0.10%. And now it's time for a small break, but stay tuned as I'll be back with the Asian and Australian market updates.
Tune in to get the latest information.
Whether it's about market movements or the currency graph,
Sectoral coverage or industry news.
we cover it all on our news segments.
Be on top of the latest news
With Kalkine TV.
Welcome back, Sage here. You're watching the Global Markets Roundup show by Kalkine TV. And the European stocks rose on Thursday, hitting the highest in more than 2 weeks as investors bet a steady economic recovery from the pandemic-induced slump will support the corporate earnings despite signs of elevated inflation. And mining shares jumped 3.3%, their biggest daily gain in 3 months. Technology stocks rallied again, and the Pan-European Stoxx 600 index stocks rose 1.2%. UK stock markets traded higher after yesterday's flat closing, tracking the Asian markets closed in positive territory. However, the energy crisis in the UK has exacerbated further, and the Pure Plant and Colorado Energy are the latest energy suppliers in the UK to collapse due to the higher gas prices. The UK energy regulator would appoint another energy supplier to serve the customers from the collapsed companies. And German bond yields were set for their biggest 2-day fall in months on Thursday as the government debt markets continued to reverse a recent spike in borrowing costs. On Thursday in the euro area, Germany's 10-year yield, the benchmark for the bloc, fell to a 1-week low of 0.192%, and that was current at 3:32 GMT in the afternoon. It was down 5.6 basis points at 0.185%, way below Wednesday's near 5-month high of 0.088%. Japanese shares ended higher on Thursday, led by heavyweight tech stocks that tracked the gains on the Nasdaq, with chip equipment maker Tokyo Electron providing the biggest boost for the Nikkei. And the Nikkei share average closed 1.46%, following 2 sessions of declines, while the broader topics rose 0.67%. In China, stocks ended lower on Thursday as record high factory gate inflation data amid weak demands in September stoked worries over the trajectory of the monetary policy support. And the Shanghai Composite Index closed 0.1% lower, while the blue chip CSI 300 index fell 0.54%. South Korean shares ended at a two-week high on Thursday as strong gains in the tech heavyweights outweighed the worries about rising inflation in the United States and China. The yuan strengthened while the benchmark bond yield fell. The Kospi closed up 1.50%, the highest close since October 1st. It gained 0.96% on Wednesday. And the Australian shares are expected to end the week on an upbeat note, likely helped by gains in the domestic miners and energy stocks on the back of soaring commodity and oil prices. The domestic shares are also expected to track Wall Street, which ended higher overnight. And the ASX 200 climbed 0.5% in the previous session on Thursday. Harvey Norman will trade ex-dividend for its fully franked 15 cents per share final dividend on Friday. Eagers Automotive and Hub24 are scheduled to pay their latest dividends later on Friday as well. Gold prices rose, driven by easing bond yields, and the spot gold rose 0.3% and US gold futures climbed 0.26%. Meanwhile, Bitcoin fell 0.34% to $57,180 34 cents, pulling back from a 5-month high. And thanks for joining us in the report. That's all for now. And keep watching Kalkine TV for more market updates. Sage signing off.